My name is Jean Ziegler. I'm United Nations Rapporteur on the right to food and author of the book The Empire of Shame. A horrible catastrophe is unfolding today on the planet due to the explosion of staple food prices, world market prices in the world. Bioethanol is one of the reasons why the food prices explode. Last year, the United States of America burned 138 million tons of maize to transform it into bioethanol and biodiesel. Burning food today as to serve the mobility of the rich countries, this is a crime against humanity. All the money which can be mobilized by the rich countries of the north should go to assure food sovereignty, to irrigation, to fertilizers, roads, markets, so that the poorest country of the world, they can feed themselves. President Zöllnig from the World Bank thinks that almost 1/3 of the price rise, of the price explosion, is due to speculative gains. So this speculation on foodstuff has to stop. New stock exchange norms have to be decided as to paralyze the arm of the speculators. These reforms, which are urgent, depend on the will of the democratic countries, which means of their public opinion. And if they don't happen, for years to come, there will be hunger, insurrection, instability, and above all, dying of hundreds and hundreds of millions of people.
Well, those are clearly the thoughts of one man, Jean Ziegler, who works for the United Nations, and he says biofuels are a crime against humanity. However, the president of Brazil's in the opposite corner. President Lula da Silva says ignoring biofuels' potential to boost development would be the real crime against humanity. So what is causing such strong reactions? Well, food prices around the world have been soaring, many blaming biofuels. That's fuels, as we know, made from plants. Let's take a look at corn, used for biofuels mostly in the United States and Europe. In the last 12 months, corn prices have gone up by 31%. But increasingly, corn is not being grown for food, but for fuel. In the United States, 20% of corn was turned into ethanol last year. And in the next 7 years, that's planned to reach 45%. Corn is used to feed chickens, cows and pigs, so meat prices are rising as a consequence. And as more farmers switch to corn, less land is used to grow food. The World Bank says 90 kilograms of corn will produce enough ethanol to fill up the fuel tank of a car just once. The same amount could feed a child for a year. Let's get the other side of the story. Robert Verhout, the Secretary General of the European Bioethanol Fuel Association. He's talking to us from the Belgian capital, Brussels. Mr. Verhout, if just one person goes hungry because of the biofuel industry, is that acceptable?
Well, obviously that would not be acceptable, but the reality is a different one. The fact that biofuels are blamed for causing all the increased food prices and hunger in the world is oversimplifying reality. Let us look at the facts. The facts are that we are using only 1% of all the agricultural land for growing biofuels. We use 80% for animal feed. This is the reality. The reality is that hunger is caused by poverty. It's not caused by biofuels. I think that Mr. Ziegler is oversimplifying the reality.
Okay, if I could just once more espouse his point of view. He says the hunger is caused because people can't afford to buy the food. The reason they can't afford to buy the food is because the prices have gone up. And the reason prices have gone up is because land has been used to grow food for fuel and not for food. QED, in his point of view.
Well, again, I do disagree with him. He is simply ignoring the fact that the biggest driver for the increase of food prices is the fact that eating habits in Asia have changed. People are now consuming more meat, are consuming more dairy products, and that has had an enormous impact on the price of agricultural commodities. So that's driver number one. then we should not forget that we have had very bad harvests last year. Some exporting countries of cereals have decided to simply lock the borders, and they are not exporting right now. That has had an impact as well. And finally, we see that there is an enormous speculation ongoing. It was mentioned by Mr. Ziegler.
Yeah, he did talk about speculation. But I want to pick you up on one thing.
Yes.
Last year, the biggest grain harvest in the United States for some time. So it's not necessarily that it's not being grown. Let's go to deforestation, because it's not just about people going hungry and people not being able to afford the food. A lot of trees are being cut down to grow biofuels. Even the British Farmers Union says we do need some environmental safeguards. How do you go about making sure this doesn't happen?
Well, first of all, I think that it would be utterly wrong if we need to cut down the rainforest to grow biofuels. I mean, then we are turning the world upside down, so that should not happen. So we need to look carefully on what's happening. We need to monitor how deforestation is ongoing. We do not have enough facts on that, but we need to monitor it. In any case, it's very clear that the biggest impact on deforestation is the fact that we are growing more soy in the world, and the soy is needed for animal feed. So that's the main cause for deforestation. It has nothing to do with biofuels.
Okay, you have a car, Mr. Verhoeven, I assume. Does it run on biofuels?
I do.
Or fossil fuels?
Absolutely. No, it's an E85 car, flex car, and it runs on 85% ethanol and 50% fossil fuel.
And you think the rest of the world should follow?
Well, I'm not saying that the rest of the world should follow. What we need to do is we need to look at alternative fuels. We are paying today $120 a barrel. That's an enormous amount of money. And I think that has a bigger impact on poor countries than the fact that we are using biofuels.
Well, I'm now, we interrupt you there because we don't have very much time, but you might like to know that the head of OPEC has just said he sees a possibility that fuel could reach $200 a barrel. Mr. Verhoeven, thanks very much indeed. That's something to reflect on. Thanks for your time.